Hi everyone, I'm making a video on hot glue guns. This is the first hot glue gun I had. It's an Arrow TR550. I loved it, but the tip kept leaking, and I took it apart several times, and there's a spring in here with a BB that keeps the glue or hot glue from leaking out as after you get done using it and set it down, and that spring had become loose, and I replaced it several times, but it just kept leaking, so decided to get a new hot glue gun. And I got the one from Flight Test, the AdTech Pro200, and this thing is 200 watts of melting power. This is 40 watts of melting power, and when I first started using it, boy, it heats up quick. I like the speed at which it put out hot glue. There's one thing I really didn't like about it, and if you've got one, you probably agree with me, and that is the trigger here doesn't put out much glue. And to show you this, I put both of them together, and if you lay them on top of each other, you'll see this handle on the Arrow is way far forward, and it engages the hot glue, and the device that pushes the glue forward moves about a ½ inch, whereas the AdTech, when you engage it, moves about a ¼ inch. And so I decided I wanted to improve this if I could. Because so many of you guys have this AdTech Pro200, this video is going to be on how you can improve the length of the trigger that squeezes the glue out. So earlier I took it apart, and now I'm going to do it all over again on camera so you can see it. So I'm going to put this aside. Okay, first take off the metal supports. Remove this screw, this one, this one, this one. This one can stay in. Remove this screw and this screw. Okay, the screws have been removed, and we'll just set those aside. Oh, and I also took off a little rubber grip that's on the back of the handle. Alright, so you gently kind of pull this aside, or pull it apart. Just kind of wiggle it back and forth, and it'll come apart. And this side comes off completely. And what you'll notice right here is that there's a dogleg mechanism here, so when you squeeze the handle, this thing moves up to engage the hot glue. And with hot glue in there, it engages earlier, but you can see that the handle moves about half the distance before the mechanism starts pushing the glue forward. Okay? And so I looked at this and I thought, what can I do to make this mechanism, have a higher leverage on it? And what I came up with was, this thing is loose in here, and what I want to do is pull this up before I even start moving the trigger. And so if you lift up this trigger handle and look inside, there's a block right here. It's just a plastic thing. And so what I did was I cut out of a piece of plywood. This plywood is 6 millimeters thick. If you work in inches, it's about a quarter. So that's how thick this is, and I cut it just to the width of this handle, so it just slides right in here, and just kind of push it in there, and it sticks. Okay. Now when I replace this handle in here, what happens is this gets pushed forward, and so now when you engage it, see, as soon as you start pushing the handle, the glue will start coming out. So now I'm going to put it all back together and show you how it works. So after I stick the board in there, we're going to put the case back on. So it's almost all back together. This is kind of push this in on one side like that, and then move over to the other side, holding it in place, and kind of stretch it and put. There's these two little tabs that go in the holes. Once you do that, the rubber handles in place, and if you use these, you can now put those back on, and so your hot glue gun is now back together. And now when you put the glue in, I've got a glue stick right here. The mechanism to engage the glue is now tight against your glue. To get it out, you kind of have to twist it like this. Kind of have to twist it to get it out. But look at this. Once it's in and you start squeezing, see, this is start moving as soon as you grab the trigger, so you can get more hot glue out in one motion. After putting that little piece of plywood in the handle, it's all warmed up now. I've got a glue stick stuck in, and now I'm going to just press on here and show you how far it goes. I'm sure that all of you will have different experiences, but there, that's a nice bead. And that's a long way, whereas before I was able to get this far before I had to re-grab the triggers more like this. Okay, and now you've got one nice big long trigger pull. I like that. Anyway, I thought I'd share that with you so that you can modify your AdTech Pro200 also. If you modify it, let me know how it works, because I think this is great. Alright, see you later everyone.